Hi, my name's Gary Harmer and I'm the Sales Director for Hikvision UK and Ireland. And welcome to this, the fifth in our series of 6 events, our Insight Online live events. This is the penultimate show today and it's going to be feature-packed and really interesting. As much as we enjoy doing so, we're unable to bring our show out on the road as we normally do, but we don't want you to miss out on our latest technology and solutions. And that's why we're bringing you these digital events online. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our customers, both end users and installers alike, for the continued support that they've shown to us over recent months. We have faced a few challenges, but together and with collaboration across our whole supply chain, we have managed to maintain our focused customer service levels. And we really value the ongoing support that you guys are giving to us. So thank you. Today, we're going to look at our Turbo series. So let me give you a quick run through of the format and the agenda for today. We'll start with a short overview presentation from one of our BDMs, Louise, who you may have seen earlier on in this series. And during Louise's presentation, please feel free to ask any questions that you have using the Q&A facility on the bar on the bottom of your Zoom session. And then after Louise's short presentation, we'll take a 10-minute break. And the reason why we give you a 10-minute break is so that you can ask the questions and we can have a quick filter through of those questions, discard anything that's not relevant to today, because we do get some of those, and then just prepare a commonly asked questions, an FAQ session. And then after that, we'll do a live demonstration of the technology, which I think is really, really good and exciting for us today. Following the live demonstration, we'll wrap that up with some further Q&As that have come in from you guys during the course of the event with our product specialist. And then on the conclusion of the Turbo series, Louise will hand over to Simon Reeve from Pyronics, and they're going to give us an update on what's the latest and greatest from their world. After Simon has finished his presentation, he'll hand back to myself and we will do a quick survey. So feedback has always been really important to us, and without your feedback, we cannot continuously improve our events in the future. So I'll talk us through a very, very quick survey using a platform called Mentimeter. At the relevant time, you'll get a screen that will tell you how to log into that survey and an access code, etc. But don't worry about that now. We will actually feed that information through to you at the relevant section. And then as a thank you for being here, your name has automatically been entered into our prize draw. So I'll conclude today's seminar with the announcement of those lucky winners. So let's get on with today's show. I'm delighted to introduce to you our presenter on the Turbo series, Louise.
Thank you, Gary, and welcome everyone. I'm Louise, one of the BDMs here at Hikvision, and today I'm going to be running through some of our Turbo technologies. So first of all, and later on, once I've run through this, we're going to be going through a live demonstration of all this equipment and having a look at what's in my lovely box here. So first of all, we're going to cover the colour view range of power over coax cameras. Now, some of you may have seen our colour view cameras before. They are a camera which, instead of having an IR LED, have a warm white LED. The idea of these is they never switch to monochrome. The camera stays in colour, and when the light level gets to a certain level, it actually brings on the white light instead, meaning that you get 24/7 colour. The great thing about these is they are actually power over coax as well, which we'll hear more about in a moment. Our colour view cameras have a very large aperture. This means they let a lot of light into the image, into the lens, giving it an f-stop of 1.0, which is very, very low. They have a BBAR coating, which is a broadband anti-reflection coating, and that means that you get a clear image with less ghosting and it's sharper image. They also have an advanced sensor with our self-adapting 3D algorithm. This means you get the best technology within our cameras. Now, going on to the power over coax part, we've got these in our normal conventional cameras, which are colour in the day and monochrome at night, but we bring you these in the colour view range as well. So if you pair up these colour view power over coax cameras with our power over coax recorders in the Turbo range, they must have a /P at the end, This has a power bar built in, and this power bar can power those cameras over RG59 or RG6 up to 200 meters. Solid core coax. Okay, this means you've only got one cable and it's giving the camera everything it needs to work. So for any of those old installations where you've got an old analog infrastructure, you simply just replace the recorder and the cameras and you will get a brand new HD image, and that camera is powered as well. There is no need for those existing power supplies that may be from the cameras, or if you're installing new, no need to wire up or put any fuse spurs in there at all. And also no need to put any mains power supplies by the recorder and have two cores going to each camera. By doing this, it's giving you a much simpler installation and it will save you on labour costs. So it's a much quicker install. And the great thing is there's less points to maintain on that system. Okay, so all of this is saving you time and money. What cameras do we have in the range? Well, we have 3 fixed lens cameras. We've got the mini bullet there, which is a smaller one. It does up to 20 meters of warm white LED. Then we have the medium one, which does a little bit extra at 40 meters. And then we have our lovely turret shape there, which also does 20 meters. All of these have that f-stop 1.0 and the advanced sensor in them. So they all have that fantastic low light ability. And these are all 5 megapixel. They go down to 0.0005 lux before they actually switch with the light coming on. So that is one of the lowest lux levels we've got in our whole range. And what that means is the white light isn't actually going to come on until the level of light gets to that 0.005 lux. So there's a high chance in some scenarios that the white light won't even come on and it'll still give you that color image, which we're going to see more of at the end. Now these come in a 2.8 and a 3.6mm version. I have 3D noise reduction, IP67 and are all power over coax. Now for the first time ever in our color view range, we now have very focal color views. So we've got there a bullet camera and the turret, and we do have behind us, which Dan's going to introduce us to, a dome version as well. All of these do the 40-meter white light, and these actually go down to 0.003 lux, which is even lower than the fixed lens version. They have the same f1.0 large aperture, and these are a very focal 2.812mm. with an exceeded IP rating of IP68, which means they can be submerged up to, I believe, 1 meter. These are all power over coax. However, if you did want to power locally, you can use a 12-volt power supply to do so if you felt more comfortable doing that or for whatever reason. Now, just looking at the systems and doing a quick comparison to what you may have put in before to what you could put in now. You've got the old conventional cameras there, the analogs, going into a recorder, and then you'll either have had local power supplies or a main power supply by the recorder in which you're having, I think, 2 cores to each camera. Instead of that, we simply have one coax camera going to, these cameras going over coax to the recorder, and no need for any additional wires, no power cables. It's simply just that one cable. This then makes it a very easy and tidy installation. And because of all of that, you are having a cost saving in regards to labour, and you're not paying out for power supplies. It just makes it a very simple system. So whether you're doing an existing system and upgrading it, or whether you're putting in a system new, it's a very good option. Where would you utilise this technology? Well, you've got the likes of retail. They need a low cost budget install because of some of them may have large chains, and obviously putting these upgrading every CCTV system can be quite costly. Also, they may not have a long downtime because they may be open very long hours. And therefore, just being able to upgrade their systems on their existing infrastructure could be very beneficial for them. You've got the likes of the schools, and listed buildings is a very obvious one. Where you've got those existing analog infrastructures where you simply cannot change that cabling, it would be it just isn't possible, then this would be a very, very simple upgrade for them. Now, taking a look at the images that we can get on the left-hand side there, you have our conventional camera that turns to monochrome with IR LEDs. Now, that's not a bad image. However, the idea here is you can see a lot more from this image. The bottom right would give you a typical example of where you would use these colour view cameras. Residential is a huge option. As you can see, you just cover maybe your front driveway and the rear. Now, the idea is colour cameras, if you can have a camera stay in colour at night time, it's going to give you more detail and potentially more evidence. Obviously, in the likes of a town centre, if you can have a camera staying in colour and someone's committed a crime, you can say to the police, I've just seen this guy, he's running away from the scene, he's wearing blue jeans, a red cap and a green top. That gives the police something to go on. Same with whether it's a town centre or a residential. If you've got more detail, you are giving more evidence in the event that something's happened, or if you're watching live, you can see in the shadows maybe something you couldn't see on a conventional camera. Also, there's the benefit of you don't have IR bounce back with the white LEDs. So if you've got rain initially where you may have bounce back from those raindrops on the IR, then you wouldn't have it with this because the camera is staying in colour. Now, looking at the very focal colour view, at the top, we've got the conventional camera with the IR lights turned off. And we're showing you here what it looks like putting it in a 2.8mm lens and also an image showing you the 12mm variant. So you've got the wide angle right the way through to the narrow angle at the end of the spectrum there. And you can see on the colour view camera, whether it's near or far, you are getting an exceptional colour image in quite a dark scene there. And that's just showing you how well that very focal camera adapts to the light levels and how it adapts and works in an environment like this. Now, we've covered the colour view power over coax, and now to show you one of our new live guards. So it's a colour view live guard camera. So we've had Turbo X for a while, which is where you have some of these features, but this is actually the colour view version. So this, again, is colour view, doesn't go into black and white, and doesn't have an IR, it has a white light. The great thing about these cameras is on the event of an alarm, they can flash a red and blue strobe light, which you can turn off if you want. And they also have a PIR built in, just like your intruder alarms, to activate the alarms in the first place. So once activated, you can have your strobe light coming on. And then you also have the option for audio. We call this 3+1, where you have a choice of 3 different voice broadcasts, simply a siren, or a warning, this is a restricted area, please keep away, or attention please, the area is under surveillance. Or even better, and something that I feel is a fantastic benefit to the end user, is a customized voice broadcast. So where you would use your HikConnect, which is our Hikvision app that is utilized to work with these systems, you can actually customize your own voice broadcast, which you can set and leave into the camera so that when the motion is activated, that can simply play. Now, we would recommend with these cameras that you use them with our new Accu-Sense DVRs. So these are our Turbo Accu-Sense versions, because those Accu-Sense do false alarm reduction. Now, none of our devices or any other devices, I believe, can actually do alarms up to false alarm rejection up to 100%. It just won't happen with any technology that you use there. But what we are doing here is we are reducing false alarms. The camera image goes into that recorder, and the recorder has a special GPU, so like a computer chip built in. And what that does is it analyzes the alarm that's just come in, and it's looking at the image, looking for a human and a vehicle. And if it, depending on how you've set it up, and if it detects that, it will push it through as a true alarm. If not, it might be a false alarm. Could be a leaf, could be an animal, could be clouds, lights, anything. But it is a false alarm reduction unit. So you still may get a couple of false alarms, but the idea here is we are reducing them down dramatically. And then you've obviously got the use of the HikConnect app with this system as well. Now, looking at which cameras are on the system, you've got a couple there. You've got the fixed lens bullet, and then you've got the fixed lens turret camera. These go down to the same f-stop and the lux level of 0.005. or 0.005 actually, and these are part of the colour view guard cameras, also known as Turbo X, which they were before. Some of you may find that your distributor doesn't actually have stock at the moment. That is because these have only just been released. So in a few weeks, the distributors will start to get their stock coming in. So that completes our presentation section for today. We're going to have a brief break. While the break is on, if you could go to the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen if you have any questions and just input them. After the break, I will be doing a live demonstration. Well, Dan will be doing a live demonstration, and then we'll pass you over to Simon Reeves from Pyronics. And then at the end, you'll be passed back to Gary, and he'll be doing a short survey to get your feedback. So if you could just have Mentimeter ready, so that's menti-meter.com, and input the code that you're going to see on the screen in the break, you can get that all set up and ready for the survey at the end. So off to a quick break now. Get yourself a nice tea and coffee or even a squash, and I'll join you back in 10 minutes. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. And we now have Dynamic Dan's demo. We're going to look at some of the technologies that we've gone through today and some others, because we've got quite a lot of equipment behind us, as you can see. So over to you, Dan.
Okay, so thank you very much, Louise. We're going to have a look at our 2 analog Turbo X HD cameras that we have here, both with PIR sensors and with an audible and visual alarm. There are 2 color view technology fixed lens cameras on the end. These are both POC, or power over coax. We have 2 versions of our DVR turbo range, one intelligent Accu-Sense DVR with facial recognition, and our POC DVR providing a single cable solution with power over coax. One of the key products of the demonstration is the varifocal color view camera. It has a 2.8 to 12mm lens with a super low f-stop, the first in the industry in fact. This means it has the ability to maintain that low light throughout the focal range. This too is a POC camera or a power over coax camera. Now we can have a look inside Lou's box. The box shows comparisons between a conventional camera and the color view camera. Both have the cameras locked into color and the supplemental light is turned off. The idea is to show how good the camera is at maintaining a color rendition even in low light. There's an aperture on the side of the box. Louise, if you could just turn that for us, you'll see how the camera adapts to having less light.
So that's with a small amount of light coming in. So you can see it has adjusted, but we can still get a fantastic image, really showing the colors of those animals, but nothing on the conventional camera. If I turn it even more, now I've closed the aperture completely. However, there will still be a very tiny amount of light still getting in there. But as you can see, we are still getting an image with color of those animals, and there is no supplementary light. So there is no additional warm white LED on that camera. It is, if you get in the box, it's quite dark, although I probably wouldn't fit. But the idea here is on the conventional camera, you can see, well, nothing, basically. It's very grainy and it's very hard to see anything. And we get that because the lens is that f1.0 and the lux level is so low. So it just shows you in an environment, you may not actually have the white light coming on. All depends on the lux level in the environment you're installing the camera into and whether it hits that 0.0005 or 3 on the varifocal. So we've seen about the color view technologies. There was something else in the presentation. We discussed our Turbo X, which is our color view guard camera. And using that with one of our Accu-Sense false alarm rejection recorders. And Dan's got this one here, which is the also does the face recognition. So can you give us a brief demonstration on all of that, please, Dan?
Sure. We'll start by looking for an event in today. You can see a list of all the times that Louise's face has been picked up during the presentation. What I'll try and do is pick one that is almost square on. We'll add that to our face database. If you want to do so, you can add in a phone number down there just for additional information. We'll click OK, and then that adds it into the face library on the DVR. We can then go back into our search features. We can search by event, we can search by picture or by name. In this instance, we'll search by picture. I'll simply upload Louise's picture, which we saved to the database earlier, and then I'll search. What that does then is it assigns all those times matches all those times that Louise has been matched with an event in this location. A double tap on any of those pictures, this one, for example, and we can simply play back that image briefly, a couple of seconds worth. We can then take that a step further by adding into there an event based on that face match library. So all the times that Louise has been matched in there, we can get it to trigger an event to the bullet. This brings in the audible and visual alarm. Louise, if you turn around for me.
Warning, this is a restricted area. Please keep away. Warning, this is a restricted area. Please keep away. Warning, this is a restricted area. Please keep away.
Fantastic demo, Dan.
Thank you.
So we're now going to run over some pre-qualifying questions here. So a little bit of a Q&A, and then after that, we're going to move on to the main Q&A. So will the white lights on the colour view come on every night?
Not necessarily. They work just like the infrared light does on a normal camera. If the lux level gets lower than the camera's threshold, the light will come on. This is ideal for when the light changes in the environment.
And how bright is that white light on the colour view cameras?
It's a warm light, not a bright and invasive light. We refer to it as a supplemental light. While the light can be set to adjust automatically, there's also the option to set the light level based on the scene requirements.
Okay, and can we have false alarm reduction on these cameras?
Yes, if you link the camera to one of our new turbo Accu-Sense DVRs, you can reduce the false alarms. This can help to minimize call-out costs and notifications to alarm receiving centers.
Absolutely fantastic. And how many cameras can have reduced false alarm reduction on the Accu-Sense recorder?
Any of the turbo cameras can be used with this recorder at all. Motion 2 can do false alarm reduction on all of the analog channels, which is the recommended way. Alternatively, use false alarm reduction by video content analysis. The number of supported channels for the VCA depends on the digit before the S in the part code.
And is there an installation guide on how the cameras should be set up?
There is. It's important to follow this to get the best results. There's good advice on our website. If you're an end user, please get in touch with your preferred installer. And if you're an installer, then please check with BDM or your distributor or our own pre-sales team.
Do any of the cameras have audio features?
Yes, the Turbo X cameras have mics built in. There are 3 pre-recorded messages. And via our application, Hit Connect, you can upload a pre-recorded message. The cameras with an S in the model name means it has a built-in microphone. Turbo X cameras also come with built-in sirens. I would recommend using an Accu-Sense DVR to work with the Turbo X cameras, as this can achieve a proactive deterrent.
On the very focal colour view, does the distance adapt depending on which lens setting you have it on?
Yes, it does. The supplemental light is dynamic, and based on the scene and camera configuration, it will adapt to suit the light levels, the local light levels.
Do I need to use the new DVRs with these cameras, or can I use an old DVR that I've got on site, an old turbo?
They can work with all 7.2-K series DVRs with the latest firmware on them. But we recommend that the Accu-Sense DVR should work with the Turbo X cameras to achieve the best results. For the colour view cameras, it doesn't matter which turbo recorder you use. For the Turbo X, you need to use the newer IDS version of the turbo recorders.
How do I know if I'm buying an Accu-Sense recorder?
The Accu-Sense recorders, the versions will start with IDS rather than just DS.
And can the Accu-Sense DVRs record IP cameras as well?
Yes, they are also a hybrid device. This means you can record both analog and network cameras on the same device. You just need a switch for the IP cameras.
And can you set schedules on these alarms?
The audible and flashing alarms can be scheduled on the local GUI of the DVR.
Fantastic. So that covers the demonstration. So thank you very much, Dan. I think we've got a lot of knowledge from that. Very impressive. Just a reminder, at the bottom of your page, if you go onto the Q&A button, submit your questions now, because we are going to go live with our Q&A session. And after that, we'll be going over to Simon Reeve from Pyronics. So first of all, I welcome Steve Pan to the set today. Hello, Steve. Steve's our product manager for the turbo equipment. So we're just going to run through the Q&As that have come through on the Zoom. So first of all, Steve, will they continue to be supplied in grey?
Yes. So the color view, the new range POC color view also come with the grey version. So we currently have the grey version in the turrets Please ask your distributors and the suppliers, and they will give the subcode and the part code to you. Yeah.
Lovely. Can non-POC cameras go into the POC recorder?
Yes, definitely. So the non-POC cameras like the H8T or the H0T, they also can be connected to the POC devices, and vice versa. The POC cameras can be also connected to the non-POC DVR with the local power supply.
You just don't get that power over coax function.
Yeah.
And any I-series DVRs with more than 8 channels?
Yes, definitely. We have the up to 16 channels IDS Accu-Sense DVR HQ-HI, but we currently don't have the 16 channels HU-HI Accu-Sense, so you still need to buy the DS version HU-HI 16 channels. But in the future, we will have the HU-HI in the 16 channels.
Okay. Any more questions on that one? Obviously, go to your local BDM and we can discuss the part codes with you. It gets a little bit more complicated. Big question versus IP, which performs better at night time? Is there any benefit of going IP if all are wired back to the box?
Okay, so for the image quality for the color view cameras, they are very similar to the both IP and analog. So it really depends on the habits or the business you are doing. You are doing analog or IP. So for IP is through the network. So it's more configurations through the web page. You have more options in for the image settings. Yeah, more settings. But for the analog cameras, analog system, it's plug and play and easy to install. So pros and cons. So it really depends. Yeah.
I think it's your decision there whether you want to go plug and play with a turbo system, or you want something a little bit more in depth with IP. Yeah. And obviously with IP you can do remote diagnostics as well. So there are advantages there. So it just depends on the system really. 3 questions from somebody here. Will there be a power over coax turret DVR in the IDS version Accu-Sense? Turret, not turbo. Will there be a power over coax turbo DVR in the IDS version?
Yeah. There will be a new version supports the POC in the Accu-Sense technology next year. So we have also have this plan in pipeline. So we will introduce in next year. Definitely.
Okay, lovely. Why varifocal color view only in 2 meg? Do we do it in a 5 meg or is it just restricted to the 2 meg?
Currently, it's just a 2 meg because it's quite, as you mentioned and Daniel mentioned, it's the first color view, varifocal color view camera in the world. And we lead the market for 1 to 2 years. So it's quite a new technology, bring the color view to the varifocal models. And the cost will be a little bit higher than the standard color view cameras. So it's kind of step by step. So in the future, we may introduce the 5 meg pixel.
Yeah, we just got to wait for technology to actually have that technology ready for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Any possible of color view turbo cameras with audio in the future?
Yeah, we will. Currently, no, but we are still looking at the market because audio coax is still new technology and a new concept in the industry, and it's some customers like it, some that don't need it. So we are still looking at the market. Probably in the future we will have this.
Can you stop the white light from automatically coming on when light levels get below a certain level?
Yeah, the white light can be managed by manually, so you can, and also you can disable the white light in the menu of the OSD camera. So if you disable the white light, it won't turn on when the lux down to subset level.
Lovely. Do all the color view cameras have Accu-Sense or just the Turbo X range?
The color view cameras have. And the color view cameras is only for it's not only the Turbo X, so also in the standard range, but the Turbo X camera also supports the color view.
Yeah, so I think the idea is the colour view cameras don't have the Accu-Sense in the actual camera. That's dictated by the recorder. So you can use the Turbo X cameras or the colour view cameras on that Accu-Sense. The difference is the Turbo X cameras have a PIR built in as well. Are there any options for using power over coax over the specified 200 metre distance, i.e. is there a booster?
Okay, so we the reason why I recommend the customer use the POC technology within 200 meters, because this is to achieve the best image quality within the 200 meters. Of course, you can achieve further distance like a 300 or 400, especially when you use the better quality coax cables like Cat6 cable, and with the and also with the AF standard POC cameras, the lower power POC cameras, you can also achieve to up to 400. But within the 200 meters, you will get the best quality of image.
So we don't advise you to go further, but if you were to, we're not saying you won't get an image, okay? But we would set it at 200 meters expectation. Can I get an IP stream from the recorder for integration to other platforms?
Yes, as our recorders, DVR also is OnWave compliant, so you can also use the OnWave compliant protocol to integrate other systems.
Okay. Yeah. Can you run audio over coax on normal color view cameras?
So the audio coax is only supported by the new Turbo X, or we call LiveGuard turbo cameras. They have the built-in microphone and also the built-in siren. So this is only color view camera to support AOC.
Okay. I know this might seem a bit of a backward step. However, if there is a client that has Cat5 cable using balance for analog cameras, can the power over coax, etc. work? So they could use the color view cameras and recorder for the functions on the color view camera to get the lights and audio. So basically, the Turbo X specifically on that one, can you have that over Cat5 with those balance and do the power over coax as well?
Yes, the answer is yes. So you can also use the audio over coax and color view through the Cat5 and the balance. But we only recommend to use the Hikvision balance with the Cat5 cable. And the distance will be limited. If you use the power coax function, the distance will be limited to 100 meters through the balance. But if you only use the AOC function, the distance will be same to the telemetry distance.
Okay. Do the recorders have a keypad function for arm, disarm?
Our recorders, all of our recorders support one key arm disarm through the alarm input interface. You can to set up the alarm input 1 as a switch to the arm and disarm the system.
Can you use the microphone option on the Hike Connect Pro on the Hike Connect app to give real-time audio alerts, talk back to intruders via the color view LiveGuard cameras?
Okay, so that's a good question. So for our LiveGuard cameras, it's not a real two-way audio. Actually, you can only upload the pre-recorded audio message through the Hike Connect app. Yeah, it's pre-recorded, so it's not a live. It's not a real-time two-way audio.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you.
I think that was a fantastic session from all. So we're going to hand over to Simon Reeve now from Pyronics, and he's going to give you an introduction to the Pyronics side. And then after that, you'll be joined again by Gary. So get your Mentimeter ready so you can answer the questionnaire at the end, and obviously we'll do the prize draw. So from us, thank you, and over to Simon now. Thanks.
Hi, Louise. Thanks for that. As Louise introduced, I'm Simon Reeve from Pyronics. As part of the Hikvision group of companies, we wanted to present our side of the business as well, including a bit of an overview of where we are up to this point, but mainly focusing on the new products that we're launching into the market. So we'll start with where we are. So Pyronics have been around for since 1986. We've taken the domestic market by storm with the Enforcer. As a domestic wireless solution, it works very, very well for us, and has taken over that side of the market. Installers have rated us for the last for 4 years in the last decade as the intruder product of the year, and we've also taken over the retail and commercial arena as well with our hybrid platform, the Euro panels. Now, they're both programmed the same, they both use the same accessories, and wireless has become so good, and the range of devices that are available now means that you've got a real shot sort of installing things really quickly, rather than taking sort of 2 or 3 days on installation in a retail or commercial site, making a lot of mess and fuss. You can be in and out in sort of half a day, achieving exactly the same results. That's been really, really good for Pyronics and the industry as a whole. We launched the Delta Bell back in 2008 as the first illuminated external sounder. So that puts my name up in lights as a business. It gives me better advertising return, but also adds a massive deterrent for the end user. And that's been emulated now by a number of our competitors as it's taken off really, really successfully. And then again, looking back at where we've been, we've got both the home control on the left there and the Pro Control Plus app on the right. The home control was our own app before we joined Hikvision, and the Pro Control is HitConnect based. So anything that's supported by HitConnect is supported automatically in there. All the cameras, the MVRs, doorbells, etc. Can work on that. We does give you a combined solution for any of those sort of markets that brings everything together nicely, and is a solution that installers can be proud of. Now, looking forward to the future, Pyronics have been working on a number of new devices. We've put some training regimes into place during lockdown, and we've been training 250 people per day through webinars, 5 days a week through lockdown. And as well as that, been working on a number of new products. And the first new product that we launched at the end of August, was the Nano door contact. Now, the Nano door contact is 66% smaller than the standard door contact we had before it, so it is much better from an aesthetic point of view. It is available in white as a complete unit, but there are also plastics available within the next couple of weeks in a dark brown or also an anthracite grey. So if you are fitting it to the surface of a composite door or window, it looks nicer, it's much smaller and more discreet, but also fits into the decor. Now, it can also be hidden away in the frame of UPVC. So you'll see an example here, and we've provided some 3M adhesive pads to help you get it located before you have to commit yourself to screwing it in to make sure that it fits and doesn't foul any of the mechanism. But here you can see one installed within the frame of the UPVC. On the right-hand side there, we've got the transmitter installed on the frame, and on the left-hand side, we've got the magnet. Now, it does come with 3M tape. We would always advise screwing and using the rear tampers in line with the standards, and that is possible on the frame-mounted transmitter. But the magnet side itself doesn't actually have to be tampered or screwed in as such. And in this case, obviously, those 3M tapes come in particularly handy, as the metal framework obviously would prevent us screwing it into somebody's window. We've also added to our range of safety devices. So as of the end of August, beginning of September time, we launched our wireless heat detector. Now, we've already got an optical smoke detector, we've got a carbon monoxide detector, a fixed or portable medical and hold-up button, which complies to all ACPO requirements for police response in PA circumstance, but also a water leak sensor as well. So we've got quite a nice safety range in there. So it does add to the installation. The problem with the current optical detector is, whilst it obviously responds to particles of smoke getting into that optical chamber, it can also be fooled by dust, things like pet hair, or even condensation getting into that optical chamber as well. So installing them in areas like kitchens has always been a bit of a no-no. Similarly, the right device for the right sort of fire, if you would install an optical smoke detector, it should be installed in places where soft furnishings are going to smoulder and smoke for a while before the fire actually takes hold. So the first sign of that type of fire, somebody dropping a cigarette out onto the furniture, would be smoke, whereas the first sign of fire in something like the garage where there's petrol, or the kitchen where there's a supply of gas, would be the increase in temperature. So these will react as soon as the temperature hits 57 degrees centigrade at ceiling height, but won't be fooled when you open the oven halfway through cooking your Sunday dinner. We've also improved the learn process of these, so they're much nicer to learn on. One of the other products we've launched under the Pyronics or unbranded product range, we don't tend to brand products. We allow the installers to put their own branding on all the products that we supply, so there's no issues with sort of trying to compete against everybody fitting the same kit and making it Googleable. So the floodlight camera has been debranded. This is an EasyViz product, part of the Hikvision group. and it's available in white and black, and it represents a real opportunity in the marketplace that's being carved out by popular consumer brands. So there are already consumer brands on the market with these devices, and this is a much more cost-effective version that allows installers to make a profit on the item and bring CCTV into places where it wasn't initially required, wasn't thought of. So this is available in white or black. It does suit the installation, so we've got a couple of staff member houses there where it fits into the installation, just replacing the existing 240-volt floodlight, really simply, and then it's a really good Wi-Fi connection to the router. If fitted within Wi-Fi range, we can put an SD card into that, and we can give the customer a really simple start into the world of CCTV. Control over the PIR on the left side there allows it to bring on the lights reliably. In the center, we've got the notification and alert section. Now, we don't have to have it notifies every time. We can set within Pro Control Plus and hit connect the option for it to receive the clip in the app, but not actually warn us, so we don't get bombarded when somebody buys a trampoline, sticks it in the way, and the mesh sides are flapping backwards and forwards, causing all the alerts. They don't get alerted continuously, but it still saves that event. On the right-hand side there, you can see where the user can easily access through Hit Connect or Pro Control Plus that video footage of all of the events as they've happened. We had a situation with Brian, our account manager up in Scotland, where a couple of lads had jumped across his garden. That obviously activated the floodlights, scared them off, and they ran away. Now, the installation wasn't really looking for CCTV. It was because the idea was there. They'd seen it on TV advertisements, and we were launching the product. So it was a good test site for us. This does prompt the lady of the house to now want CCTV, which she hadn't wanted before, because she wants to see what happened when they ran around the corner. So actually getting that camera into the property in the first place to put in the door has then opened up the requirement and the need and the desire for expanding those cameras throughout the system. So it's bringing more business to our installers, which is the important bit. We've also got a big uplift to the Enforcer panel. So we are drawing a line with the current Enforcer on the ARM Series M3 processor. And there's a new ARM Series M4 processor version, which has actually got Wi-Fi integrated into the processor. So the first thing installers will notice, it looks identical from the outside, but inside there is now no longer a Wi-Fi module installed in the panel. It's fitted as standard within the actual device itself. What it does support is it supports a new tablet keypad. So we currently have an arming station, which is LED based. There's no feedback or display. And we'll upgrade those kits to include this tablet keypad as close to the cost of the current arming station as possible, ideally the same cost if possible. So this will be launched within about the next 6 weeks, whereas the other devices have been launched already. So this wireless keypad interface is a tablet. When you order the kit, the tablet will come with it. As a massive upset to the market, you'll be able to give the customer a tablet instead of a keypad. The same sort of cost. The customer has got 3 modes in the tablet, so they can use keypad mode, they can use video surveillance mode, or they can use automation mode on the menu structure on the left-hand side there. They've also got the ability as an installer to brand this system, so this will be the Acme Corp keypad as far as the customer is concerned. By tapping on that branding, it will open up all the details of my business and a share icon, so I can actually share that system, those details of my installer, to a friend or colleague who's asked me, who did that? It's quite a nice keypad. Where can I get one? I can tap that, and your customers can drive business to you as well. We've got a spot monitor there, so if we were to install that floodlight camera, not only is this now a keypad, it's also allowing me to see what's going on the CCTV and really bringing those two system parts together. And then we've got a set of customizable options there for bringing on smart plugs or controlling devices around the property. It is, after all, Android tablet, so you have got the ability to use popular apps like Netflix or Google or Gmail or Facebook. So if it is on the coffee table and you're using it as a CCTV monitor, click on the hub icon will take you back in to the app. Now, the CCTV interface is very simple, so we've got the playback and we've got the live view options on there. There's no setup in there because it's designed for the user. There will be hot buttons associated with each camera feed that can turn on smart plugs, lights, or activate the bell box siren if you were to be on an outdoor camera looking at your car, for example. And there'll also be an automation section which will support the advent of smart plugs, smart light switches, etc. as we go throughout the beginning of next year. Now, those kits are available with or without the sounder, but they'll come with that tablet keypad inside. The final update we've got for you is on the Home Control Plus version 2. So we've got a big app uplift. We've completely renovated the look of the Home Control Plus app. At the moment, it doesn't support video, but it will support video before the end of the year. And this app uplift, firstly, looks a lot prettier. It's a lot easier to set up for the customer. It gives them a lot better guidance, and it will also have some how-to video content built into there. When the customer logs in, it will give them biometric storage of the user code and the app password, so they've got much easier use of the system. And we'll also implement geofencing, as well as this much prettier interface. And with the geofencing, the user will be able to automate some features of entering and exiting the premise area. Now, what that will do is it will mean that as I come home at night, my phone will ping, and it will automatically log into the system, and it's just a matter of tapping notification and the phone seeing my face or fingerprint to unset the alarm system. So that process will become much simpler. So we're speaking to the Pyronix account manager team, and we'll give you a better update of where we're going with products, as well as the new upcoming gate contact for external detection, and also the speaker siren courtesy light that we've got coming out shortly. Make sure you're registered at pyronix.com to be kept informed of all new developments. Thank you very much, Louise. I shall hand it back to you.
Thank you to Louise, Dan and Steve for a really interesting overview of the Turbo series with some great demonstrations there. Really interesting. And thank you also to Simon from Pyronix for that very interesting update on the world of Pyronix. Thank you, of course, to you for your participation today. And so for more information on any of the products that you've seen demonstrated, then you can access more information in a number of different ways. First of all, go to our website, hikvision.com. Use the search facility in the top right hand of the screen, just put in Turbo Series, and it will bring you straight through to the relevant landing pages for that product range. There's a wealth of information available on the website. Alternatively, if you're a member of our VASP partner program, talk to your Hikvision BDM. They will be able to give you as much information as you need. Or alternatively, please speak to your chosen distributor. Their sales teams are really knowledgeable on this product range. If you're an end user, we would encourage you to talk to your preferred installer, and they will be able to advise you on best product selection for your particular application.